It seems like we are living in a post-COVID world in Central High School. Few masks are seen in the hallways. Late work policies are not as lenient. Everything is back to normal, yet one school policy introduced during the COVID years has remained in the forefront. Based on a survey conducted with Central students, 100% of students have either taken or are planning to take the ACT and/or the SAT. However, 76.9% of them are certain they will submit their standardized test scores to colleges. Not so long ago, no one had this choice. Now, test optional policies are everywhere. More than 1,700 colleges and universities aren't requiring test scores this year. And even 63.5% of the top 200 schools are not requiring test scores for the graduating class of 2023. Missouri universities are no exception to the test optional wave, and even Springfield's universities include test optional policies. These test optional policies are not only limited for this year's seniors, as 38.5% of those top 200 schools have already announced that they will continue their test optional policies through at least 2024. While it looks like these policies aren't going away quite yet, they may not be permanent. Will test optional policies continue? After all, why would colleges stay test optional? The conversation of colleges being test optional started way before the pandemic. Some argue that tests can harm marginalized students, including students whose first language isn't English, first-generation college students, immigrants, and lower-class students. Additionally, there is an argument that tests don't accurately represent the quality or the potential of a student. Due to COVID-19, nearly all colleges turned to a test-optional policy, which caused these universities to experiment on how a test-optional world may look. This new outlook dramatically increased the number of applicants. For example, Cornell's number of applicants increased from 50,000 to 71,000. Additionally, a 50% increase of the following Cornell class was first-generation college students. While these can be valid reasons for why test-optional policies are indeed the way of the future, do educators feel the same way?
I am Cliff Smart. I went to work at Missouri State University in 2007, I think. I became president 11 and a half years ago. I think we're going down a path to keep them. I think the last thing to do is do the data analysis to make sure the students that are coming in without an ACT score can be successful. We've not had any opposition from faculty or the academic side in terms of this policy. Last year, we added scholarship options that are based just on grade point.
Do you personally believe that test optional policy should be permanent?
I think so.
It's interesting to hear what educators think. Here's what Central students think. 50% of the students think that test optional policies will continue. 30.8% of students are not sure. 19.2% of the students do not think it will continue. One student stated that
things like standardized testing have become very flexible due to COVID. However, I don't think they will remain that way.
Now that we have looked into answering this question, a new question arises. Should test optional policies continue? Here's what Central students think. 65.4% of students believe it should continue. One student explained that,
while I think those who did good on these tests should be allowed to let their work show, I don't think it's fair to make a test like this define you.
15.4% of students think it should not continue. 19.2% of students are not very sure. It is indeed interesting to keep in mind that test optional policies might be indifferent for some students, but for a certain student, test optional policies have been more than helpful for her college journey.
My name is Rachel Dole. Currently, I am attending DePaul University in Chicago. I definitely do have dyslexia, and it has caused some issues, especially like reading, and timing, especially with standardized testing. And I am not a natural test taker. So basically, I get very stressed out. I really valued trying to apply test optional because my scores did not meet those requirements. Honestly, it turned out in the best situation I could be, and I think I found my best fit here at DePaul. Colleges and universities should definitely keep the test optional policy because they could be missing out on great additions to their campus and to their communities that they build.
It is clear that the conversation on test optional policies is complex, but one thing is certain. Test optional policies give students the opportunity to choose. Students can still submit their scores if they want to, but for others, the option of disregarding their test scores can give them an opportunity they may not have received a few years ago. In a post-COVID world, the future of testing will be on the lookout. For future generations, this may be a completely different conversation, but as of right now, a more inclusive college application process is here to stay. Signing off for Central Intelligence, this has been Charlotte Bauer, class of 2023,
And Darla Bauer, class of 2024,
reporting.